All right, we got anime fans, nostalgia versus recency bias. Now, I'm so glad somebody made a video on this cuz I was really thinking about making a video on this. I'm just fucking lazy. Bro, but RDC, if you know the group, they had an argument about Dragon Ball versus Attack on Titan, which is a better anime, right? And a lot of things were being said about nostalgia versus recency bias, and I have a lot of things to say about it myself. So I want to see somebody else's opinion that's not RDC, because sometimes them niggas be losing me in what they be saying. So having another outside perspective will bring some light onto the story. So let's see what you talking about, Zah 13R.
So in case y'all didn't know this already, I watch a lot of YouTube. I have ever since I was a kid. I don't really like TV, I don't have the attention span for movies, but YouTube, that's where I'm at. And obviously I like anime, and I like YouTube, so I would obviously like anime YouTubers, kinda. I say kinda because, in my opinion, most anime-tubers are just kinda boring, because a lot of them are too afraid to give their real opinions and rather just pander to the audience, or will avoid giving opinions at all, which I think is kinda lame. And that led me to making my own channel because I enjoy the genuine conversation and arguments that people have. I think it's fun to sit down and argue about stupid shit.
Me too.
And anime YouTube has blown up in recent years, but I still don't think there's anyone on anime YouTube that is better than RDC World.
Okay, yeah.
One thing RDC does better than anyone is argue. Like, if you ever seen videos of these niggas, they will.
Let's talk though. Their arguments are fucking ass. It's a like let's keep it real. I'm a debater at heart, bro, and I love to gaslight people. But as someone who gaslights people, I can see a gaslight occurring. And this nigga Mark is a tier 1 gaslighter. If you don't know, you don't know. But hey, bro, that is what he is, bro. He is a gaslighter. And most of their debates or arguments are just niggas gaslighting each other's and niggas running over each other points and not actually listening to what each other have to say. They do not have good debates, but they have funny debates. They have very funny ones.
Argue about anything, which I love because I'm the exact same way. I'll argue about anything too, which is why I love their back and forth series, because all they do is argue on that. I've seen like every episode, but on the most recent one, the main argument they got into was Attack on Titan versus Dragon Ball Z. Well, it was the main one to me because it was the one I was the most interested in. You know, with Attack on Titan coming to an end, a lot of people are trying to decide where they're gonna put it with their favorite anime. And in recent times, it has risen a lot in a lot of people's ranking. I'm not part of this conversation because Attack on Titan been in my top 5 since season 3. When Levi was fighting Kenny, when we found out all about the government and all the hidden shit that was going on in the Attack on Titan world, that's when that shit hit top 5. But after this ending, I've seen a lot of people overreacting with it. Like, I've seen more than one person say that Attack on Titan is objectively the best anime of all time and shit like that. Calm down. Relax. And through this talk about Attack on Titan and Dragon Ball,
I'm gonna try to get through this video without stating my opinion on Attack on Titan because I don't think it's important. But I'm gonna try to get through this video without saying it, man.
Z, it started this more broad discussion about nostalgia and recency bias and how that clouds people's judgment on series. And while I think a lot of it comes from what you value in a show, I think some of it has to be insecurity. Personally, I love older shonen like One Piece and Bleach. Shit, I still think One Piece is better than all the new shit that's out right now. But I'd say every once in a while, maybe every 10-15 years, there comes around a new anime that shifts around what people think is acceptable to have in your top 5 or top 10 or top 3, and this time it just happens to be Attack on Titan. And I think when this happens, fans of those older series start to get a bit insecure, and I've noticed.
Okay, I can tell that I'm not gonna like this video. I can already tell that I'm not gonna like it.
Is that the older the anime and the bigger the fan base, the more insecure they get. And being a One Piece fan, I've noticed a lot of people in the community do a very similar thing, where they try to put down and downplay a lot of the newer shows coming out in order to prop One Piece up. But I don't think any.
Now, this is what I'm gonna say. I think it's the exact opposite of what you just said. And I think this is very ironic that I can think this and like you're about to say what you say. But I definitely think it's the exact opposite. I think with all these newer shows and having this newer animation and better stories than what we had, like, back when we were growing up, I think people downplayed older stuff that we have, and they don't take in consideration how good the animation was at that time or how good the story writing was at that time. I think people do it exactly the opposite way that you're saying right now.
Fan base exemplifies this more than Dragon Ball fans. Like, Dragon Ball fans cannot conceptualize the idea that any anime could possibly surpass Dragon.
And now you're wrong, because I'm a Dragon Ball fan and Dragon Ball isn't even in my top 10.
And they'll ignore any arguments to the contrary. And it just feels weird that out of any show, Dragon Ball is the one to have this conversation, because out of any show, Dragon Ball kind of has the least ground to stand on outside of popularity. I mean, I like Dragon Ball, but it's just Dragon Ball, you know what I mean? I feel like if we were bringing up old shows, Yu Yu Hakusho is more reasonable to bring up than Dragon Ball. Because to me, Attack on Titan and Dragon Ball Z just aren't even close. But to be honest, I don't even put Dragon Ball Z in rankings at all anymore. Like, if you ask me to rank anime, I wouldn't put Dragon Ball Z in there positively or negatively. Dragon Ball just feels like it's in this weird realm of its own. Cause like I said, it's just Dragon Ball. Not that I couldn't rank Dragon Ball, but I would be honest. I like Dragon Ball, but I'm gonna be honest about what Dragon Ball is. And it's hard because I try to be reasonable, but it feels like for other people, Dragon Ball gets this leeway that no other series gets. And what I mean by leeway is that Dragon Ball gets away with making dumbass plot decisions, abandoning characters, and just generally doing things that no other series would get away with.
No, I don't like this. 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 Because this is exactly how I feel about Attack on Titan. There is so many loopholes in Attack on Titan. Niggas don't talk about them. Niggas brush over every single loophole in Attack on Titan. Anything. Bro, one of my biggest gripes in anime ever is how people overhype Hunter x Hunter. I don't care. You could crucify me, bro. I will stand on this hill. Niggas overhype the Chimera Ant arc. And I have a fucking Bible of points on why that arc is not fantastic. It's the exact same thing. You could go like, this argument. This is why this is a good argument though, because it does go both ways. Yes, Dragon Ball fans do, like, not just Dragon Ball fans, people that watch older animes or where older animes are their favorite. Yes, they tend to not look at everything that the older anime was. But like I said, my problem is I feel like recency bias is way more effect nowadays with a bunch of normies than nostalgia is. Like, I don't even think it's close, bro. I've heard so much crazy takes with newer anime like JJK, Attack on Titan, and Chainsaw Man than I do hear about some old shit. Ever, bro. Ever.
Other series would get dropped if they did the things Dragon Ball did.
See? And, oh, brother. You're gonna get me started. You're gonna get me started, bro. Because this is what I mean. You're not taking Dragon Ball for what it was and what it came out, or when it came out. Of course, if Dragon Ball came out with the plot that it had today, nigga, of course. Oh my god. That's like almost any old ass anime, bro. Like, if Naruto came out today with all this filler, nigga, look at Boruto, brother. It's like, come on, bro. Like, Boruto's nowhere close to Naruto, but like, even if it's 50%, look how garbage it did. Like, I'm just saying, bro. Like, Naruto would be a fraction of what it was if it came out now. Like, that's an obvious thing to say, bro. And that's where y'all lose me, because y'all say things like this, and that just logically does not, like, that logically, you're not cooking with that.
Like, could you imagine if Jujutsu Kaisen pulled some shit like how Dragon Ball did with the Namekian Dragon Balls? Imagine if in Bleach they introduced a way where you could just...
Bro, come on, bro. Oh, you're losing me, bro. You're losing me, bro. JJK is a dark show. JJK is the show that niggas die. That's that show, bro. Like, one of your favorite characters is dying in that show. Of course, JJK is not pulling out no fucking Namekian Dragon Balls, bro. Nigga, we already seen Shinron in Dragon Ball by the time we seen Namekian Dragon Balls. Like, what are you talking about, bro? It's like this is what I be talking about. Y'all just be chatting. Like the things that y'all say are not actually like they don't help y'all at all. These are all terrible points. Trying to tail down older shows, bro. That's the shit that I don't like right there.
Bring anybody back to life with no consequences anytime you want, an infinite number of times. Or imagine if that shit was in Naruto. Nigga, they would have been on Kishimoto ass. Because it's Dragon Ball, we kinda gotta let it slide. And it's not like that's the only.
Bro. Bro, you can't even name, bro, you could barely name 5 impactful characters that was in the core cast of Naruto that died. You could name like 3 or 4, bro. Like, of course, bro. The nigga, you know how many niggas died in Dragon Ball? The main character has died in Dragon Ball. Nigga, almost every single character has died in Dragon Ball. Like, of course, these are 2 different, completely different shows, bro. Like, oh, this is what I mean. These are just bad points, bro. And this is what makes me mad about this
Only
shit.
thing. There's plenty of things in Dragon Ball that are like that either actively make the story worse or just don't go anywhere and feel pointless. Just things that other anime would get crucified for. I say it's because of nostalgia, but it might not be nostalgia. It might just be.
Bro, this is the worst point, bro. There is so much things that Naruto does. There is so many things that Naruto does that it doesn't get crucified for, bro. Plenty of things. Like people talk about it just like people talk about the shit that you're talking about Dragon Ball. You think people don't talk about this shit? Yes, they do. This is just how people talk about the animation for Naruto. Bro, but it's people don't talk about it that much. Like of course not, bro. Like, bro, of course they don't talk about it that much. These are older shows, bro. These are the shows that set the road for anime. Like, but every show, even One Piece with its pacing, all of the older shows have downfalls. All of them. But you look over them because when it came out, they came out a long ass time ago, bro. Like, of course they're not gonna be perfect. The bar for anime has only gone up and up, which has raised expectations. Of course, JJK should have no room to do something stupid because the bar is only higher and higher, bro. Like that's the thing, bro. That's the thing right there.
Because Dragon Ball fans will accept anything. Akira Toriyama could pull up to a Dragon Ball fan's house, spit in their face, smack them 3
Oh
times.
my god, bro. If you're like this nigga is crazy, bro. I got it. He got it.
Smile
Bro.
and say, "Thank you, Akira Toriyama. Thank you for smacking me in the face." But on the flip side, one mistake that I see people make, and that RDC made in that video, is they overstate the issues with things like pacing and animation in older anime. And coming from someone who's watched One Piece and has recently rewatched all of East Blue, the pacing is not nearly as much of a detractor as people like to make it seem. Like, yeah, it can be annoying sometimes, but I feel like it's always manageable. And sometimes slowing down the pacing just helps with the tension. And it's weird because things that were once valid criticisms, like the pacing, start to become overstated over time. And this is where the recency bias comes into play. Because people praise these newer shows for their quickened pacing. Like Jujutsu Kaisen and Chainsaw Man, people are always like, "Oh, I love how they get the ball rolling and they never stop. They just keep going." And then they turn around and complain about characters feeling flat or underdeveloped, or their relationships not feeling real enough, or their relationship not feeling strong enough. And they complain about these things without realizing that how quick the pacing is the exact reason for these issues existing. My favorite example of this in JJK is Megumi. Because I constantly see complaints about him and how he doesn't even feel like a deuteragonist because he feels underdeveloped. But it's like, when you look at the story, when did he ever have time to even get developed? Because of how much pressure is on the story to constantly have something be happening all the time, some things just get lost, I think. And that's why I think recently we've been seeing these dumbass takes of people saying Jujutsu Kaisen is all fights and no plot. If you think that, you're just not paying attention to what's going on and you're completely lost. But I think that's partially Jujutsu Kaisen's fault. Because of how the story is paced and how things are written out, it makes it really easy for people to miss things to the point where all they really remember is
And this is the sad thing about anime fans right now, bro. And this is like, I swear, like if you're OG, you know what I'm talking about, bro. Anime didn't used to be like this, bro. A lot of people got into the game, you know, a lot of normies. I know I use the word normies a lot, but it's the truth, bro. A lot of normies got into the game and they just start spewing nonsense. Like if JJK would have came out when Attack on Titan came out, there wouldn't have been a single complaint, bro. Ever, bro. Like there wouldn't even be a single complaint, bro. The only time Attack on Titan started getting, like, the first 2-3 seasons of Attack on Titan, they barely got any type of complaints, bro. But as soon as Mappa picked it up, and in the new era of anime with a bunch of normies came, that's when all the complaining started to happen. Look, it is what it is, bro. And I think that recency bias is always gonna trump nostalgia right now, because there's always gonna be more new people that's coming onto the show, that's coming into the game. Maybe anime dies and we turn into like a lot of old fans, and that way the nostalgia is gonna start beating the recency bias. But for now, recency bias is always gonna be more annoying to deal with, bro.
Is the fight. So then you only get people picking up on the hype and the fights and the good animation, and they use that to try to push it above the older shows. And this is one of those things where recency bias plays a part, because older shows had hype moments and good animation too. There's this major misconception that we have now that older shows were just all bad animation. Everybody was moving like a fucking cardboard cutout in that bitch. But that's not how it was. Like, of course, back then it was all hand-drawn animation, so it was harder to be consistent. So there's way more mistakes back then than there is now. But older anime still have some beautifully animated sections. Like I said, I recently rewatched all of East Blue, and I was actually surprised. Like, I'm watching these older One Piece episodes, and I'm only on like episode 15 or something, and it's like, damn, some of these sequences are actually so well animated. But if you listen to Twitter, you'll think they're moving like Terrence and Phillip in that bitch. With all that being said, I would still say on average, newer anime do tend to be better. Recency bias is a real problem that we have in the anime community that I'm noticing crop up even more and more, but at some point we do have to accept reality. It's just how things go, it's natural. As time goes on, things evolve and get better. Of course the stories are going to get better over time because newer authors are going to learn from past authors' mistakes. Along the way, old things get surpassed by newer things, and one of those things just happens to be Dragon Ball. But yeah, man, that's all I got for y'all boys today. Let me know if you prefer newer anime or older anime in the comments below. Like the video if you liked the video. I know you liked the video, because why would you still be watching if you didn't like the video? Subscribe to the channel, and yeah, man, I'm gone.
Alright, you started to pick up the game at the end of the video, and I respect it. You started saying some of the things that I wanted you to say, because if you would have missed them points that I would have knew, you would have been yapping. But I don't think it matters. I feel like you missed out on the biggest thing that you could have said, and that's, it doesn't matter, bro. Like, it doesn't matter. Bro, if you like Dragon Ball, there doesn't have to be a debate over it. Like, I have friends, and they have, in my opinion, some of them have questionable top shows in their anime, top 5s, top 3s. But I will never debate them over those shows. All I will say is, that show's not for me. Like, that's all you can do. Now, if y'all want to sit here and have a debate about it, like, of course, y'all are going to get into the loops and the loops. It's like MJ versus LeBron. Y'all are going to get into debates that there's no real answer to, because y'all are going to be looking at two different things. One of y'all going to be looking at impact. One of y'all going to be looking at certain different things, and then y'all are going to start nitpicking at the shows. Like, yes, we love debates, but when it comes to debates that you're definitely not going to get an answer to, I feel like it's just a waste of time. So when it comes to old shows versus new shows, like, I feel like there's no reason to compare. They're all great in their own aspects. Now you want to debate an old show versus an old show, sign me up any day. You want to debate a new show versus a new show, bro, please, I'm down for that. But when it comes to new to old, unless you talk about the right things, there will never be a understanding between those two sides, bro. And that's just how it is. But nevertheless, though, great videos. I'm going to call you Za. Great videos. I hope to see you pop up on my feed again, brother.